Welcome back, troopers. Today we're heading high above the clouds to one of the most intense battlegrounds in the Star Wars galaxy, Bespin platforms. Tight walkways, sudden drops, and non-stop crossfires make this map a true test of skill and strategy. Whether you're holding the docks, pushing the fuel station, or locking down the central extractor, I've got the tips you need to dominate the skies. This is your ultimate map strategy guide for Bespin platforms in the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. Let's get to it. So we're going to break down the map overview, command post strategy, factions, so the Rebels and the Empire, winning formulas, and common mistakes. So first things first is the map overview. So Bespin platforms is set far above Cloud City on a series of landing pads, control docks, and connecting bridges suspended over the endless sky. The battlefield is wide open with sheer drops on every side. One wrong move and you're out of the fight instantly. The map layout consists of the central platform, so the heart of the map with multiple command posts and bridge connections in every direction. Whoever holds this has quick access across the battlefield. The side platforms, these are the smaller landing pads, often holding one command post each. They're critical for flanking moves. Bridges, narrow and deadly. They connect each and every area, but also funnel troops into choke points, which are towards the center of the map. Spawn zones. Each faction starts at opposite ends with initial command posts located near hangar-style platforms. Map dynamics overall consists of long sight lines, great for snipers and ranged troopers. Vertical danger falling is as deadly as blaster fire. Mobility and careful positioning are key. Choke point control. The bridges are central hub to determine the flow of the match. There's limited cover, so expect a lot of open space firefights where reaction time and aim matter the most, and the only cover mainly are towards the central buildings on each of these platforms and also the bridge ways itself to the left and the right you can move. Command post strategy we have for the Rebels are the docks command posts, which this is your starting command post for Bespin platforms. Has open sight lines, makes it vulnerable to snipers on bridges. You want to defend it with marksmen on a high ground and keep infantry ready to intercept side bridge pushes. The fuel command post, close to the docks but slightly more central, often contested early. Control this and you've got a straight route to the center. Great for vanguards with rockets to hold bridge choke points. The command post is positioned further along the bridge towards the central area. Good staging ground for pushes into the extractor command post. The central extractor command post, which is the center of the whole map, is one of the most important command posts on the map. And whoever controls this specific command post will be able to respond to almost any attack within seconds, and you also need to constantly defend this command post because losing this can flip the momentum instantly for the battle. Empire command posts, so they consist of the control command post. So this is the Empire's main spawn area, slightly more defensible than the Rebel docks thanks to the tighter approach angles. Use heavy gunners here to stop long-range bridge pushes, so snipers and infantry units, your main infantry units, and also your medics. Landing command post positioned near the central routes, often the first target for Rebel advances, perfect for dart troopers to launch counter assaults directly over bridge defenders. So those dart troopers are very, very effective for the Empire, so definitely use those to get an upper hand on the Rebels. The depot command post, one bridge away from the central extractor command post. If you hold the depot and extractor together, you've effectively cut the Rebels in half, and the Empire snipers can lock down Rebels crossing from fuel to command with clear sight lines here. Regarding the key command post strategy tips, recommend the central extractor is the king to basically winning all the command posts, and taking that early will definitely help you win the game quickly. Always keep at least one command post behind the fight well defended. Losing it causes spawn chaos. If you're behind, send a stealth unit. I would recommend as a stealth unit the Dark Trooper or the Wookiee or the Marksman or the Scout Trooper for the Empire. So those are the units that I would recommend as stealth. For the factions regarding Bespin platforms, so you have the Rebels and the Empire, so I'm showing that in 4 different clips for this, back and forth on either side of the map to show you the different spawns and the different strategies for that. But we're going to break down the Rebels first. So the strengths are their balanced all-around unit roster, strong mid-range blaster play, perfect for the map's open sightlines, and snipers. So the Marksman snipers are perfect for this map because you have open sightlines to the left and the right and from higher vantage points as well. Another key thing with the Rebels is the best units for the platforms are Rebel Soldier, so reliable in most fights, works well at both close and mid-range combat. Marksman Rifle, sniper units pick off enemies on long bridges, essential for controlling approaches. Vanguard Rebel unit is great for clearing bridge defenders with rockets, and the Wookiee just picks off enemies with bowcaster and kills other Empire units effectively with its grenade launcher. So some other Rebel tactics: use your mobility and variety, split enemy forces, keep pressure on side command posts to force the Empire to defend multiple fronts, and don't get stuck trading fire down one bridge, flank whenever possible. So use your different flanks to progress through the map, and make sure to use the different vehicles. So you have the X-Wings and the bomber units, and you also have the cloud cars, as well as on the Empire's side you have the bombers, the typical vehicle, and just whatever else you can get a hold of. But obviously that depends on where you spawn. If you spawn on the Empire side, you would want to use the bombers or the other typical ones that you need to use. So the best units for the Empire are Stormtroopers, which are your best all-around units for infantry. Your Scout Troopers, perfect for sniping across long open spans. Your Dark Trooper, which can jump over contested bridges, land on command posts, and disrupt enemy lines. And then you have the Rocket Trooper, which shoots rockets and you can use your blaster pistol as well to contest the enemy on the bridges. And for the Empire tactics, you really want to lock down the central bridges with ranged units, while Dark Troopers hit command posts from above. So I typically use the Dark Trooper, which you're seeing right here, to push different command posts. And the other thing you really want to keep in mind is that controlling the extractor command post gives you the quickest response routes across the map, because it is the center. So controlling the center command post will really dictate whether you get that win, or if you don't, then it'll definitely fall to the enemy and you're going to start losing units considerably quick. Or you could have the Rebels, if you're the Empire, take command posts behind you from using their air vehicles. And the same thing works for the opposite side, for the Rebels. So you could lose command posts behind based off of how far you push up in the map. So command post stealing strategy is really important. So I'm going to break this down. So you have the side bridges. Most players stick to the main central routes. The side platforms often have 0 defenders typically, or less defenders in general. So you might want to take those into consideration when you're pushing these different command posts. Jetpack drops So as like the Dark Trooper, you definitely have a higher launch angle for when you're using the jetpack, and you can definitely come straight down to a command post without ever touching the bridge, and you can really push the enemy from different angles as a Dark Trooper. And another critical thing is you want to consider when you're taking the command post. So whether you're taking them early in the fight, so like taking the extractor early in the fight is critical, because then you have your 3 initial command posts, and then you have the center command post on the map. So you have 4 command posts total versus 3 command posts for the enemies, which would be the rebels in this case. And that really limits them. You also want to understand when you're respawning, where to respawn. So if you're getting pushed at the extractor command post or another side command post on the platforms, then you really want to move to the ones that you need to, or recapture the ones behind you. Like in this case, you saw that the rebels took the one behind towards the bottom left of the map. So those are just some key things to really keep in mind while you're taking command posts. And when you do get a command post, you want to make sure that you're holding it temporarily, and you either put mines down as like a vanguard unit for the rebels, or as a rocket trooper for the Empire. You can put mines as well. And you want to also chain your different command post captures in line, so use that new spawn location to push back the enemy, and use the next command post, so on and so forth, to capture the other ones. And then command post recap. So we have some rebel command posts. So they consist of the docks command post, the rebel spawns. They're wide open, easy sniper targets. Keep it covered with marksmen and vanguards. Fuel command post, slightly more central, great for staging pushes, but vulnerable to bridge assaults. The command post, midway towards the center, strong push position, but watch your rear. The Empire can flank through the side bridges. And the central extractor command post, the heart of the map. Whoever controls this controls movement. Needs constant defense, whether you're on the Empire side or the Rebel side. The next Empire command post is the landing command post, so it's near the main bridges towards the center. So if the Rebels get this command post, your mobility is in trouble. And the last command post is the depot command post. So one bridge from the extractor combined with control. If you add those two, it definitely creates a strong defensive line for the Empire. So now on to some winning formulas for the map. So you really want to consider how to win this game, and the best way to do that is through strategy. So own the central early. So the central extractor command post is the lifeblood of Bespin platforms. Take it fast in the opening push. Controlling it means you can hit any other command post quickly. Use ranged units to cover all bridge approaches while reinforcements rotate. Secure 3 command posts minimum. 3 command posts is the magic number. It stops ticket bleed and gives flexibility for counterattacks. The ideal hold, your spawn command post, the central extractor, and a side platform command post. Don't overextend into risky territory unless you have a clear number advantage. Mix defense and offense is another critical thing to consider. So you want to ensure that your defenders focus on bridge choke points and using the map's long sight lines for sniper control. Attackers should coordinate bridge pushes or flank through side platforms. And if you're playing this on multiplayer, definitely make sure you're keeping 1 or 2 players back to hold the other command posts. But if you're playing like instant action, like I'm showing you guys here, 4 different matches of this from each side, 2 matches from each side, then you really want to be the governing force and dictating where your forces go. So you want to be at the forefront of that and capturing the command posts, defending them as needed, and pushing up to different command posts as needed, and recapturing ones that the enemy takes. Use mobility units for disruption. So the rebels, you really want to use the marksmen. Snipers for controlling the different bridges. And for the Empire, you want to use the Dark Troopers to jump directly onto enemy command posts, bypassing bridges entirely. And disrupting spawns forces the enemy to abandon their main attack and reroute their forces where needed. Control the bridges, control the match. So choke points at the bridge entrances are perfect for rocket troops and snipers. If you can lock down bridges with overlapping fields of fire, the enemy will be forced into risky pushes. Use explosives sparingly to avoid sending teammates flying into the clouds or your other units on your team. Play the long game, so even if you fall behind, Bespin platforms is recoverable. Side platform steals can swing momentum fast. Keep calm, avoid panicking at the spawn command post, and look for the least defended enemy command post to start your comeback. Now on to some common mistakes. You want to really understand both of these. The wins and the ways to prevent any mistakes on Bespin platforms. So, ignoring the central extractor command post is a very big mistake. So many players focus only on the outer command posts, such as the docks, fuel, command, and leave the extractor uncontested. Why it hurts, the extractor is the map's most pivotal point. Controlling it gives faster access to other command posts and cuts off enemy reinforcements significantly. Overextending early, so definitely a mistake. So charging deep into the enemy territory without securing a safe fallback command post. So why it hurts, you risk getting cut off, respawning far from the fight, and letting this will allow enemy to retake lost ground easily. Underestimating the vertical combat. So one other thing with Bespin platforms, since it's a sky-based map, is that you want to consider of the different height advantages and the walkways, the ramps, and the vertical combat from the starfighters, so like the X-Wings, the bombers on each side, and how you can really use those to move to the other platforms on the opposing side and then land there and capture the command post and flank the enemy from the behind, basically, which is very advantageous. You're going to see I'm using the bomber here as the rebel medic, highlighting this fact that you got to understand what you really want to do with how you push the enemy on these maps. So another big mistake is neglecting vehicle and turret control. So which I was just saying is the vehicle control and the turrets are also at these main platform command posts. So your larger platform command posts have those turrets, and so do the ones on the outside. So that stops the vehicle movement in the air from capturing command posts when you're pushing further up in Bespin platforms. Another common mistake is clumping at spawn. So mistake entire units bunch up at the docks of the fuel command posts instead of spreading to multiple fronts. Why it hurts, this makes it very vulnerable to grenades, rockets, and concentrated enemy fire, and definitely shows your concentration, and this gives the enemy a greater advantage and allows them to capture more of the map. Forgetting to block enemy reinforcements, so it's a mistake leaving a single enemy command post deep in their territory untouched. So why it hurts, this lone command post becomes a rally point, letting the enemy spawn behind your lines and back cap command posts. Overlooking the bridge choke points, so a mistake is rushing across open bridges without cover or using the other units to your advantage to push up. So why it hurts, these bridges are death zones for snipers, and charging blindly into them without considering the grenades and other rockets coming in front of you will definitely hurt your team badly. whichever side you're on, and poor class choice for the map. So it's definitely a big mistake. So choosing heavy weapons in areas that favor mobility and long-range fire, or ones that prefer, let's say, just main infantry, so just getting the most rounds out. So the bridges really favor the main infantry role and the snipers, but the rockets are good for if you're further down a bridge and looking from one command post to the next, or you're looking across to the left or the right at the platform and trying to take out enemies that are clumped towards the choke points on the bridges. So yeah, those are the different categories I wanted to just discuss with the Bespin Platforms map. If you consider all of these, you're definitely going to have an advantage whether you're on the Rebel side or the Empire side, and these are just critical things to know for how to win and what not to do on the map. And also, if you guys want to know which command post I'm directly talking about, make sure to hover over the command post names as you spawn. So click on the ones, or hover over the ones you want, and it'll show the name on the top right corner when you spawn, and then you can move to the ones that you need to based off of how you perform on Bespin platforms. So we're just going to show you a bunch of different gameplay with the Rebels and the Empire. I just gave you guys the breakdown of how I play and what I found from Bespin platforms over the years, and the best way to win, really. And it's through these 4 different games, 2 on each side, to give you guys some perspective as to how to win and what things don't quite work well in these games. So in this game specifically, I'm using the Rebel main infantry unit to really gun down these different units, and I'm taking them out quite quick. You see right here. And we locked down the extractor command post, which is the center one, as I mentioned previously, and that really helps knock down the other units quickly, and their numbers are just going to keep dwindling at a drastic rate, because now they're just focused down to 2 command posts, because we took one of their back command posts towards the back of the map. So that definitely is going to limit them. So now I'm playing Vanguard. I'm going to take out the turrets. So you have 1 turret on either side of the central command post for each side. So for the Empire and for the Rebels, you have 2 of them on either side. On the Rebel side, you have them on the east and west. And on the Empire side, you have them on the north and south side. So they are slightly shifted up for where they are located. It's definitely harder to push the Empire side with the turrets facing the north side and the south side. Considering the north side has the turret, you're definitely going to have to consider it, because it can also shoot down towards the bridge. So it's definitely harder to push the Empire back when you're a Rebel, but there's obviously pros and cons to being each different faction on Bespin platforms, so that's something you really want to keep in mind when you're playing this map. And I'm showing you guys these different units and what typical game style I typically use to win these different matches. So I can play any different type of unit that I want on either side. Really shows that the snipers really dictate this map quite significantly because of the long range distances for firing, and they can just sit on the platforms across like this, shooting at the scout trooper right there, and then the dark trooper just flying about. You can really take them out quite quickly and make sure that your team can really push together as a cohesive unit. So we're just going to take out these other units here. We're almost done with the game. This is, I think, game 3 of 4, I believe. So overall, we're on the extractor command post currently, which is the center one, and we're just sniping these other Empire units to take them out. See how effective it is. It only takes 1 or 2 shots to take out these units if you shoot them in the right spot. Most times I believe it's only 1 shot to kill. No, it's 2 shots. If you get, I believe if you get a headshot, then it is a 1-shot kill. If you get a upper body or leg or whatever shot on them, on the enemy, then it's 2 shots to kill. That's not too bad. So overall, this is definitely going to be a harder map on multiplayer. This is just an instant action of this map with 4 different battles against different bots or AIs. So you're going to see how I effectively show you guys the strategy of how to play this map, and it just works. It's pretty simple on either side, whichever way you take it, but you have to be consistent and you have to limit enemies' command posts to whichever ones that they are. So as my go-to is obviously the Dark Trooper. Absolutely love the unit. I love all the units. I could play any of them and still have a fun time and manage to win on whatever map it is. So yeah, it's always a good time playing this game. Used to play this game, Star Wars Battlefront 1 original on PS2, the good old days, and thought, you know, playing these games again, this game, Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection that just came out about a year ago or whatever, it's always good to use that experience you once had and really just teach others what you know about it. So that's what I intend to do with these videos, with these different maps, and show you guys different strategies so you guys can say, okay, well, I'm going to do this strategy because of X, Y, and Z, and this gives me X, Y, and Z results. So I have 4 command posts, so I'm going to win the game, and I'm pushing the enemy back at a considerable rate, and I'm playing this very smart. So it all comes down to how you pick your units and how you really help the team out. And it just shows overall with the battle, it just makes everything more fun because you know what you're doing and you know how to push the enemy back on Bespin platforms. So you see I'm using the medic unit on the Empire side, so I can use the heals and reload for that, and I can also use the grenades and the blaster pistol as well to take out the enemy. I can also give these heals and ammo to the other bots on the team. So it's just another good example of teamwork, which you could do the same thing on a multiplayer map. You know, handing out ammo or health to yourself, which typically I do a lot on, you know, these kinds of games, or on multiplayer I would do the same kind of strategy, and it just makes the pushing up towards the other command post a lot easier. So we're just going to push these guys back towards the command post. We are going to use the heal, reload the gun, reload the grenade launcher, and try to shoot towards this ramp. And we see some of the rebel units clumping up towards the right and left on the platform. This the main spawn platform for that command post. So overall, it's really critical to take that extractor command post and take other command posts behind the enemy at all costs. Those are your biggest things, and keeping the command posts once you have captured them is another critical thing, because if there's no good in capturing a command post if you're just going to lose it that quickly again. So it really comes down to strategy and knowing when to take command posts and when to defend the command post. So extractor, we're going to use the main infantry unit again for the Empire. So you notice that I'm shooting straight across from this extractor command post towards the I believe it's called the command post, your central one for the rebels, so you can shoot straight across the platforms and take out the enemy quite easily. That's another strategy I will do if I think there's other enemies or other bots in the game that are just bunching up towards the choke points on the bridges on either side. So that's a good way to funnel them out, those enemies, and to push them back. And that allows your team to push up and capture whatever command post is needed and protect the ones that you are currently capturing. There's sometimes you're capturing command post and you get a big wave of enemies coming towards you. Like, well, you gotta take them out. They're all spawning right now, so you gotta make sure to prioritize that at all costs. So we're capturing another command post right now, and this is the main spawn for the rebels. This command post is definitely crucial to capture. And you notice in the back bottom left of the map that we have lost a command post. It also says on the bottom right when we capture ones or when we lose ones to the enemy, so that's another thing you want to keep in the back of your mind, is to really understand how your units are doing and whether your team is really effectively doing the job or not. Is sometimes the bots, like on these gameplays that I'm showing you to just show you different strategy, really just don't do their job, and they just really fold quite quickly. So it's critical to understand that there is ways to do this right and ways to not do this right when you're playing Bespin platforms for the rebels or the Empire. So we're going to capture another command post right here. So this is the docks. This is a really good command post overall for different ships, for the rebels or for the Empire. In this case, rebel air ships spawn there. Sometimes they don't. It just depends, you know, based off of what other units use those ships and control them. You see the Cloud City car right there. That is definitely probably one of the worst vehicles on this map. I believe it has rockets and like a blaster type of gun, and that really just doesn't do it justice. So the starfighters, your typical, you know, Empire or Rebel vehicles are your go-tos The bombers are nice. They definitely take out the turrets, and they can also kill out, a bunch of different, rebel units or empire units as needed. You can definitely shoot at the bridges with your vehicles, especially if you believe that the units are being all bunched up towards the bridges and the extractor command post. So yeah, so wrapping up this game. So if you guys liked this Bespin Platforms Cloud City map strategy guide review, let me know. Make sure to hit that like button, consider subscribing, and also becoming a member. So yeah, this is Dark Architect 18. I'm out. Hope everyone has a good day. Thanks for tuning in to this YouTube video, and we have another one of these coming up for the Sis versus the clones. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next YouTube video. Thanks. Peace. Bye.